I've always dreamt of riding down the highway on a motorbike with the wind blowing through my... Yeah,
dreams. It's good to have dreams.
I've been wearing a helmet, so I wouldn't be able to feel anything anyway, right?
Right.
Today we are looking at two different motorcycle racing games. This is MotoGP 15 versus Ride. Now these are both by the same developer, Milestone, out of Italia.
Wait a second. Ethics in gaming? I think it's weird. I think it's a little bit weird that we're looking at a game that are made by the same developer.
It's like saying like EA makes various different sports games, and these are two different worlds of motorcycles here.
Both just came out in North America. The biggest difference to me is, MotoGP 15 has the license and all of these crazy drivers, but come on, do you follow that in any way?
Okay, obviously there are people who do. I mean, let's start with MotoGP 15. Now this is obviously the latest incarnation of the series that follows real, true motorcycle racing. Like if you know the riders, if you know the brands, if you know the bikes, if you know the sponsors, this is for you. This is like high speed, high octane track racing, leading into those curves to like your little knee pads scraping the ground. Like, I watch these guys on TV sometimes. I'm like, you guys all got death wishes. Y'all got death wishes. I don't know what the hell you're doing. I don't even know how it's even physically possible to do this stuff. But hey, that's why video games exist, so we can do these things that we can't do in real life.
There is a ton of content here. I hear one of the big things is that they put in like all of last year's big races, so all of the showdowns that happened last year, and that's basically what's missing from Ride.
Or you could say Ride is more accessible to we, the common person.
It is, and so because basically it is you who are riding, right. And there are hundreds of bikes and all sorts of routes, and actually there is a bit more, it's less tracks, a little bit more open roady stuff,
yeah.
and
slower. I don't want to say slow bikes because there's like 100 real world bikes, and you get up to like really fast street bikes. Yeah, just like a little less intense, a little less technical.
Ride is a little easier to get into, and partly too, I felt more like this is me as opposed to playing as these guys who yes, they're celebrities in their world, but I have no idea who they are and I don't care.
If you're a hardcore fan of the sport, MotoGP is obviously, you probably played all the previous games. This year, I don't think adds a lot to the experience that you wouldn't have got with MotoGP 14. But you can like do this whole thing where you get sponsors and you form your own team and you have your little trailer. You can go on your trailer and like watch the highlights from other races or like work on your sponsorships. But with Ride, you're more building up like your own character and custom tuning your own bikes. Again, man, you've got to be a fan of motorcycles to really appreciate
the actual
games.
riding though too. I felt the riding physics were very, very similar. This is one of these it is made by the same guys.
They both have the rewind feature where when you wipe out, you get back up. I use that a lot.
I use that a lot. That should be a standard on everything.
I'd be off the start, and I'd be like, yeah, it could be popping a wheelie over backwards. Okay, rewind. That didn't happen. Or go around a corner, and you're jostling other dudes, wipe out, rewind.
This is a versus, so we're putting them up against each other. So let's start off with MotoGP 15. Steve, what are you going to give it?
It's a little slicker. If you like the sport, I think you're going to love it a lot. It's 7.5 for me.
I'm going to give it a 7. And Ride.
I like it for different reasons, a little more accessible. I'm going to give it a 7.5 as well.
Yeah, you know what? 7 for me.